To the family members and listeners alike, I want you to think very carefully about what I'm about to say to you. I want you to really analyze the following information. I was asked to participate in a video conference session day before yesterday, and the keynote speaker during the video conference was the head of Daimler-Benz. You know it as Mercedes-Benz, okay? And what he said was a bit mind-blowing, and you need to pay close attention to what I'm about to say to you. I'm repeating, and I'm going over what he said as they see now, what others see eventually. The head of Daimler-Benz, he predicted an interesting concept of what could lay ahead. During this particular interview, the head of Daimler-Benz, which you know is Mercedes-Benz, said their competitors are no longer other car companies, but Tesla, obviously, and now Google and Apple and Amazon et al. They are their new competition. Now listen to this, family. He said software will disrupt most traditional industries in the next 5 to 10 years. I said 5 to 10 years. For example, think about this. Uber is just a software tool. They don't own any cars. And now they're the largest taxi company in the world. Airbnb, okay, is now the biggest hotel company in the world, although they don't own any properties. Okay? And then you see artificial intelligence, talking about that AI. Computers become exponentially better in understanding the world. This year, a computer beat the best Go player in the world 10 years earlier than expected. And listen to this. Those of you that are trying to figure out your career path, in the United States, young lawyers already can't get jobs because IBM Watson, okay, will allow you to get legal advice. Within 90 seconds, you can punch in a legal problem and IBM Watson will steer you in the right direction along with the appropriate legal documents. Okay? And it does this with 90% accuracy compared with 70% accuracy when done by humans. So if you study law, okay? If you study law, according to President Mercedes-Benz, as he looks around the world, he said he'd advise you to stop immediately. There will be 90% less lawyers in the future. Only specialists will remain. Watson already helps nurses diagnose cancer 4 times more accurately than human nurses. Facebook now has a pattern recognition software that can recognize faces better than human beings. In 2030, computers will become more intelligent than human beings. Autonomous cars in 2018, the first self-driving car will appear for the public. And around 2020, the complete industry will start to be disrupted. Now, you don't want to own a car anymore in many societies, okay? What will end up happening is you'll just simply call a car with your phone. It will show up at your location and drive you to your destination. You will not even need to park the vehicle. You'll only pay for the driver distance, and you can be productive while driving. Our kids will never get a driver's license and will never ever own a car. It will change the cities because we will need 90 to 95% less cars for transportation in the cities. We can transform former parking spaces into parks. 1.2 million people die each year in automobile accidents worldwide. We now have 1 accident every 60,000 miles with autonomous driving vehicles that will drop to 1 accident in 6 million miles, okay, as a result of autonomous vehicles. Now that will save 1 million lives each year, and most car companies will probably end up going bankrupt. Traditional car companies will try the traditional approach and try to build a better car with tech companies like Tesla and Apple and Google, okay, leading the way. They will take the revolutionary approach and build a computer on wheels, and many engineers from Volkswagen and Audi are completely terrified of Tesla. Auto insurance companies will have massive trouble because without accidents, car insurance will become much cheaper Their car insurance business model will slowly disappear. Real estate will change also because if you can work while you commute, people will move further away to live in a more beautiful neighborhood. Electric cars will become mainstream about 2020. Cities will be less noisy because all new cars will run on electricity. And electricity will become incredibly cheap and clean. Solar production has been on an exponential curve for 30 years. And now, you can now see the burgeoning impact. Last year, for instance, more solar energy was installed worldwide than fossil energy. Energy companies are desperately trying to limit access to the grid to prevent competition from home solar installations, but that can't last. Technology will take care of that strategy. With cheap electricity comes cheap and abundant water. Desalination of water, of salt water, now only needs 2 kilowatts per cubic meter. Now, we don't have scarce water in most places. We only have scarce drinking water. Imagine what would be possible if anyone can have as much clean water as he wants for nearly no cost. And as we look at health innovations, well, I bring your attention to something called the Tricoder X. Okay? The Tricoder X price will be announced this year. There are companies who will build a medical device called the Tricorder. You remember that from Star Trek? Scotty, beam me up. Okay? The Tricorder that works with your phone, which takes your retina scan, your blood sample, and you can breathe into it. It then analyzes 54 biomarkers that will identify nearly any disease. It will be cheap. So in a few years, everyone on this planet will have access to world-class medical analysis, nearly for free. This will be a vital and devastating blow to the medical establishment. And then let's talk about 3D printing. The price of the cheapest 3D printer came down from $18,000 to $400 within 10 years. In the same time frame, it became 100 times faster. All major shoe companies have already started 3D printing shoes. Some common spare airplane parts are already 3D printed in remote airports. The space station now has a printer that eliminates the need for the large amount of spare parts they used to keep in the past. And at the end of this year, new smartphones will have 3D scanning capabilities. You can then 3D scan your feet and print your perfect shoes at home. In China, they already 3D print and build a complete 6-story office building. And by 2027, 10% of everything that's being produced will be 3D printed. Business opportunities, well, let's talk about it. If you think of a niche you want to go in, ask yourself this. In the future, do you think we will have that, whatever you're thinking about bringing out? And if the answer is yes, how can you make that happen sooner rather than later? If it doesn't work with your phone, forget the idea. And any idea designed for success in the 20th century is doomed to failure in the 21st century. Work? Well, let's look at that. 70 to 80% of jobs will disappear in the next 20 years. Listen to me. 70 to 80% of jobs will disappear in the next 20 years. That's why it's incumbent upon you to master these powerful strategies and techniques that we teach you in the Ask the Wiz Wealth Institute. There will be a lot of jobs, new jobs, but it is not clear if there will be enough new jobs in such a small amount of time. And these jobs will be augmented through automation. So the jobs that come out will be scarcer, and they will be aligned with technological advances as well. Let me give you an example. I talked about this last week. Walmart is rolling out an app that you can download on your phone for free. And as you are walking through the store, shopping, putting things in your cart, you will scan the barcodes on those items with the free downloaded Walmart app on your smartphone. And when you get ready to leave, it will automatically take the money out of either your checking account or off of your ATM card or credit card. You walk straight to your car. You don't even have to check out. So what does that mean? that means there's going to be less Walmart employees. Didn't you receive my tweet? And for those of you that are members of the National Wealth Institute, didn't you get my PAID alert about Walmart just suddenly shutting down numerous Sam Clubs last week? They did not even inform the employees. The employees showed up to work, and guess what? The doors were locked, and they had law enforcement people out in front of the Sam's Clubs. 11,000 people were affected in the Walmart employee community. 11,000 people without notice. These people have mortgages. These people have kids in college, et cetera, et cetera. Literally, overnight, their job was gone. Their position on the plantation. But if you know how to make your money work for you, okay, when massa pulls a diabolical move like that, okay, you step back, you collect yourself, and you've got money working for you. And you know how to monetize the capitalistic system and continue to get PAID. So now, you need to understand and understand that 70% of all jobs as you know them today will disappear within the next 20 years. Okay? And as it relates to, let's talk a little bit about agriculture. There will be a $100 agricultural robot in the future. Farmers in third world countries can then become managers of their field instead of working all day on their fields and in their fields. Okay? And when we look at all these other innovations that are being brought forth by technology moving forward, understand and understand that there's one thing that drives all of this innovation, family. It's capitalism. It's capitalism. It's capitalism. And you must understand how the capitalistic system works. You must understand, understand how you have to have your money working for you, because you may not be employed much longer, okay? Because technology is eliminating jobs. Understand and understand this. Technology is not put into society to increase, okay, the population employment. No, it is not. It's to decrease population employment and increase, okay, corporate profits. Robotics and technology never calls in sick. Robotics and technology doesn't have to have an employment benefits package. Okay? And it's far cheaper to have technology producing your goods, products, and or service than having humans produce your goods, products, or services. Therefore, in a capitalistic system, the goal is and will forever be, forevermore, to maximize profits by any means necessary. Even if it means reducing your labor force, that's exactly what is going to happen and what is happening. The next time you go into your local Walmart, the world's largest retailer, notice how many employees you don't see. Listen to me. Notice how many employees you don't see walking the floors of Walmart, or the number of employees you don't see up front at the checkouts. You see more and more automated checkout lines and less humanoid operated checkout lines. But what you also see in all of the Walmart stores is more and more cameras mounted so they can monitor the shoppers. So they decrease their boots on the ground, their labor force in the stores, and increase the automation to increase their productivity and increase their profit margins. You must see now what others see eventually, so that you can monetize the underlying technology that is driving the wider profits for corporate America. Because you want to be able to provide for those that are dependent upon you, and you want to be able to provide for yourself financially, no matter what comes, come what may. But if you are dependent upon the capitalistic system to provide you with a job, which is typically designed anyway to keep you just over broke, that's why it's called a job, then you are living in a fool's paradise. Because at the end of the day, you've got to understand and understand that this is a real situation that is developing before your very eyes. And you need to ask yourself, could you be there in case NASA decided your services were no longer needed? Or are you living in a situation, okay, where it's just a fool's paradise, one in which you are fooling yourself in thinking that this thing called life that you're currently involved in is indeed fair and equitable? No, indeed. Capitalism is selling you a bill of goods, something that is nothing more than a way and means of bamboozling you and keeping you in the proverbial